we're bad. You're black. I'm mad.
Hey, listen. If we're going, shouldn't I have a gun?
No!
Hello everyone, this is MJ1 Media, and the magic is back with Lethal Weapon 2. The 1989 sequel to the first film, Lethal Weapon 2 sees the return of Mel Gibson and Danny Glover as detectives Martin Riggs and Roger Murtaugh, who continue their efforts to destroy the drugs that Shadow Company put out on the streets of Los Angeles. Some side characters from the first film return, portrayed by their original actors, along with some fresh new faces to add to the story. The movie opens to a bombastic drum roll by music composer Michael Kamen as the title flies in with flashing red and blue cop car lights and sirens before revealing Riggs wildly ecstatic about the car chase he and Murtaugh are caught up in.
Oh God, I love this job.
The chase begins in the 2nd Street tunnel that Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese were chased through by the Terminator in 1984. And just like then, things get out of control as the bad guys fire a shotgun at our heroes. The chase leads to downtown where cars collide and explode, and Murtaugh's station wagon, which he borrowed from his wife Trish, takes damage he had hoped to avoid.
Here, Roger.
Riggs attempts to use the traffic and roadblocks to his advantage and attempts to catch the suspect on foot.
I'd like to see your driver's license and proof of insurance!
Unfortunately, his fierce determination puts him in over his head as he narrowly avoids getting filled with lead and falls behind.
Ride, Joe. We got the blue and your red one's going up the hill. So is Riggs. On foot. Hey, Riggs, get the floor up in here.
Fortunately, Raj drives up beside him and is forced to let his partner drive.
Now we're scratchy here.
The chase results in the suspects escaping by helicopter and on foot, all the while ditching their cars full of Krugerrands, the currency of South Africa.
You told me this was going to be a routine drug bust. You didn't say anything about helicopters in the middle of the city, automatic weapons, Krugerrands. Okay.
The night takes a comedic turn as Riggs announces that Roger's daughter, Rianne, once again played by Tracy Wolf, will be in a commercial later that evening. Upon returning to the Murtaugh house with Riggs, revealing that his garage is being expanded upon by Mickey McGee, played by Jack McGee, Raj learns that the commercial aired was an advertisement for condoms, or rubbers as some like to call them.
Wait and see. Cops never let up, you know. Rubbers on my desk, rubbers in the mail, rubbers in the coffee, rubbers.
I'll give the boys some credit, in one ear, out the rubber.
As Riggs tells Trish Murtaugh, once again played by Darlene Love, about the night his wife died, the escaped suspect, Hans, arrives at the fancy office of his boss, Arjun Rudd, played by Joss Ackland, only to be silenced by his enforcer, Peter Vorsted, played by Derek O'Connor. Rudd instructs Vorsted to handle the situation with the police, and he decides to warn them off by breaking into the Murtaugh home and terrorizing them. The next morning, after Raj makes sure Trish and the kids are safe elsewhere, Captain Ed Murphy...
Hey, what's that music from?
No relation that we know of. Once again played by Steve Kahan, gives Riggs and Murtaugh a new assignment as a break for their loss and shakeup the night before. He assigns them a federal witness named Leo Getz, played by Joe Pesci, who is to testify for money laundering and needs protection until his court date.
This stinks.
I don't give a fuck, Riggs. That's why I don't have an ulcer, because I know when to say I don't give a fuck. And Riggs, one more thing. You know what that says?
Yeah. Same thing as that, but I don't give a fuck.
Excuse me, man. Where's the lobby? That's just hey.
Hey, come on.
The girls in this
What?
place. I guess this is where they live in the daytime, huh?
Yeah, this is where my tax money goes too. Shit.
Upon arriving at the hotel, located next to the Nakatomi Plaza, Riggs and Murtaugh meet Leo and they hit it off like raid on a cockroach. As they are delivered food from room service, they end up getting something they didn't order.
Hey, I didn't order a hamburger. I ordered eggs.
Maybe he should have ordered pancakes. Also, you're not supposed to swim until at least an hour after eating. As Riggs and Leo get cramps after swimming immediately after getting room service, the waiter runs off and the two cops relocate Leo to Murtaugh's now empty home. Upon explaining that he laundered drug money and ripped off the drug dealers in a get-rich-quick scheme, Leo informs them that he was interviewed by Hans, the suspect who they pursued and lost in the opening of the film. Realizing that Leo's case is connected to what they were previously looking into, Riggs and Murtaugh head to where he met Hans, a stilt house on Mulholland Drive. Upon arriving, Riggs enters by impersonating a pool cleaner and incapacitates two men, only to get shot at by the waiter from the hotel. Raj comes to Riggs' rescue, but Riggs is driven intensely to catch the waiter and races after him, climbing onto the back of a tow truck he stole. As Murtaugh and Leo pursue after them along Mulholland Drive, picking up Riggs' dropped gun on the way, Riggs clings for dear life as the waiter tries to get rid of him while avoiding traffic. The chase comes to an abrupt end though, when the waiter brakes, causing Murtaugh to collide with the towed car and sending it over the tow truck, crashing into a pickup with surfboards tied to the roof that gets sent flying. After that deadly wipeout, Riggs and Murtaugh return to the stilt house with backup to arrest the other guys, only to be interrupted by Rudd and Vorsted, who informs them they are from the South African consulate and have diplomatic immunity.
Under the Diplomatic Relations Act, no diplomatic agent may be detained or arrested once his identity has been established.
Forced to leave empty-handed, Riggs learns that Vorsted knows him.
Take it easy, especially you, Riggs.
Riggs? You Martin Riggs?
Yeah, the Chicago Riggses. What's your name?
And on the way out, he bumps into the attractive Rika van den Haas, played by Patsy Kensit, who is Rudd's consulate secretary. Riggs and Murtaugh return to the station to inform the captain that they uncovered a crooked South African consulate dealing drugs, dollars, and Krugerrands, only to be informed that there's nothing they can legally do to him. I do, however, have to ask, if Leo were to testify in front of a federal court against these crooked South Africans, does that mean that they can do something? I ask because if there wasn't anything they could do, then why did Rudd even try to have Leo killed, especially when they wanted the money he stole back? Since there's nothing much they can do except keep babysitting Leo and give Raj a rubber plant.
Hey, Sarge, you don't like it, you can exchange it.
Riggs takes some time to follow and harass Rudd while impressing Rika. Riggs then is informed that Raj hasn't checked in and rushes to his house to find that he's stuck on his toilet seat after reading a warning that his toilet is rigged with a bomb.
Why didn't they plant the bomb in Trish's stove?
Think of all the needless suffering. Could have ended right there.
Calling in the bomb squad, Riggs gives Raj a chance to get off the toilet before detonation, but the window of opportunity is small and his numb legs will make him unable to do it on his own, so Riggs opts to stay and help him out.
I'm gonna fucking die here. All right?
Okay.
1,
2, 3!
Later on, Leo and Raj go to the South African consulate and pretend to want to immigrate to South Africa before erupting into a protest against the apartheid, buying Riggs the opportunity to sneak into Rudd's office. Upon tearing a note off Rudd's desk which has the name Alba Varden on it, Riggs makes fun of Rudd and his crooked diplomats before he gives them an intense threat.
Eeny, meeny,
Hey, Mom!
Pick him up with your hands.
Big smile. Big smile.
Big smile.
Afterwards, Riggs meets up with Rika and persuades her to come over to his place where he attempts to find happiness after the loss of his wife. Meanwhile, things take a dark turn for the LAPD as the squad that was assisting Riggs and Murtaugh start getting killed off. John Connor's foster mother, Vasquez, just can't seem to catch a break, can she?
Hey, Kavanaugh, you in or out?
I'm out.
As cops start dropping like flies, Riggs and Rika are caught up in their hours spent getting intimate that they are oblivious to the rising death toll. Meanwhile, Raj looks into the note Riggs tore from Rudd's desk and takes Leo back to his house to discover the meaning of Alba Varden. Leaving Leo in the car, Raj discovers that Alba Varden is a ship in the LA harbor.
I'll be damned.
As he prepares to leave, Raj is attacked in his house, but fortunately, he turns the tables and nails the bad guys.
Nailed them both.
Unfortunately, the fight distracted Raj long enough for Leo to be captured by Rudd's men. Back with Riggs and Rika, they are snapped out of their lovemaking when Riggs' dog Sam alerts them that trouble is coming. As Riggs' trailer home is shot up, the two manage to escape via the doggy door, allowing Rika to make a run for the truck and Riggs to retaliate against his attackers. After returning Rika to her home and finding himself falling for her after only one night, Riggs is knocked out and captured by Vorstead. Placed in a straitjacket, Riggs learns that Vorstead knows of him because Vorstead had tried to kill him once before, but ended up killing Riggs' wife instead, revealing that her car accident was in fact a murder. Angered by this, Riggs is unable to attack Vorstead, but is able to free himself from drowning, only to learn that Rika was not so lucky.
Not that much luck with women, do you, Riggs?
Enraged by the loss of another woman he loved by the same man, Riggs calls Raj to inform him that it's personal now.
I'm not a cop tonight, Roger. It's personal now. I'm not a cop.
Riggs!
Compelling Roger to ditch his badge as the two go to the stilt house. As Raj busts in, shoots the place up, and frees Leo, Riggs decides that it's time to bring down the house. With Leo free, he is sent back to the station while Riggs and Murtaugh head to the harbor where the Alba Varden and Rudd's people are. While investigating a container filled with loads of money and a car, the two are locked inside by Rudd's men. But not for very long. As Rudd's men fire into the water, Murtaugh and Riggs rappel down from the dangling container into the cargo hold, taking the shooters out from behind before splitting up. Roger manages to make his way out of the cargo hold while Riggs remains and takes out a number of thugs viciously in the names of all the friends and loved ones he's lost. Unfortunately, Riggs is taken off guard by Vorstead, who throws a knife into his right leg, knocks his Beretta out of his hand, and proceeds to beat Riggs brutally for kicks. Mostly for kicks. Riggs uses Vorstead's obvious assault pattern to his advantage, and turns the beatdown around as the two struggle over the knife removed from Riggs' leg. Getting the upper hand, Riggs has a chance to kill Vorstead to avenge Rika and his wife with the knife, but can't bring himself to do it and thus walks off, leaving Vorstead to draw a gun on him. And with the press of a button, Vorstead feels the full weight of his racism and sins on his shoulders. All 4,850 pounds of it. Just as Riggs and Murtaugh think they're in the clear, gunshots erupt through the air as Arjun Rudd pumps Riggs full of lead.
Diplomatic community.
It's just been revoked.
Upon learning that diplomatic immunity isn't the same as bullet immunity, Roger rushes down to Riggs, who appears to be gasping his last breaths of life.
You're not dead until I tell you. You got that? You got that, Riggs? You're not dead until I tell you. No, don't die.
Of course, this isn't the actual ending. However, something like this was originally intended by Shane Black. Initially, Riggs was meant to die here at the end, but the studio didn't want to end the franchise here. So Shane left the series at this point, and instead, we got this ending.
Son of a bitch. I thought you were dying here in my arms.
No, man, I didn't die in your toilet. I'm not gonna die in your arms, so sure as you.
Also, I just wanted to point out that there was this initial ending where Rika lives and goes with Riggs to the Murtaughs for Thanksgiving dinner, but instead we got Riggs surviving after losing 2 women he had come to care for. But then again, he's not necessarily alone, as he still has the Murtaughs. And that was Lethal Weapon 2, ending the same way the first film opened, but in reverse as the camera pans away and flies over the Los Angeles skyline. Most people say this is the better between the first 2, and overall the best in the series, and to an extent, I can see why. It's got more of what we got, plus a little something extra. It's also darker and edgier, but knows when to take a step back and have a laugh or two. Now, while there are some things that I can't help but to question and nitpick about this one, like why did they proceed to torture Leo when they initially tried to kill him, I can put those aside to enjoy what I'm watching here. When they said the magic is back when this first came out, they weren't lying nor exaggerating when they said it. This is a good example of a sequel rising up to match the first and go further even by just a tiny bit, and you can bet on that. In terms of action, I'd rate this 9 Smith & Wessons out of 10. In terms of story, I'd rate this 10 VHS tapes out of 10. And in terms of sex appeal, I'd rate this 2 Saxes out of 10. No different than the first film, since there wasn't as much in this as there was before. Just one long scene cut into different sequences. Overall, I'd rate this film an A-. Also, be sure to remember, if you are about to get intimate and need a rubber, just pick one off a rubber tree. And if that's no good, be sure to exchange it. This is MJ1 Media, putting the FU in fun. If you wish to sub to me, feel free. If you already have, double check just to make sure. Shoot that like button, share this with your friends and family, and type in the comments below if you wish to see more videos like this.